Drunk Mondays, episode 4, right?
Episode 4. We made it 4 episodes.
I'm proud of us, man. The consistency here is amazing.
Right. Weekly episodes. This is amazing to do. This is just where all the energy is, right?
No, so earlier today you sent me that text about, man, this is exciting for you. Like, this is probably the most exciting thing I got going on right now. I love this podcast.
Yeah, man. I mean, this is in the words of early Nelly, this is all we got, right?
You said that, and I didn't know where we were going to go with that. I was like, is he going to go, we're going down, baby? No. And then I was like, is it getting hot in here? I just didn't know.
Nah. We're going to keep it with, we all we got.
We all we got. Hey, man, this is so I love it, man. No, this is cool. So I guess the next thing we got to do, we got to make sure, because now after this episode, we'll be four episodes in the books. So we will start posting the episodes probably this week. Now that'll give me time to do the edit on now. I have 3 after this episode. I have 3 to edit. So this is exciting, man.
So this will probably be the closest one to launch day.
Yeah.
Everyone else. So everyone else is going to hear episodes 1, 2, 3, and then magic number 4. We're going to come on the scene and be like, this is more recent. Our secret's out now.
All right. So, hey, let me ask you, how do we want to do that? Right. Because I mean, this is all new for me. Do we want to just go ahead and I'll drop one. I can drop one as soon as we're done here tonight, or drop one tomorrow morning. I don't think it matters. And then drop 2 and 3, regardless of.
Hit them all.
Drop them all. Okay, I'll do it. And then is the goal then? I'll say this: the goal next Monday will be to drop episodes 3 and 4, and I'll drop 1 and 2 this week.
That sounds good.
All right, that's awesome. This is amazing.
Right? It's exactly just as hype as our future listeners are that they're going to get 2 episodes this week. Is as hype as we are to give them 2 episodes this week.
This has been amazing because, so one of the things I've enjoyed about I love and hate is I'm learning how to edit video. Never thought I would be editing video in my life, but here we are. Boom, 2020. I'm editing video. So, man, why not?
Right. It's 2020. I'm doing a podcast with my best friend. We out here killing the game.
Yeah.
I just don't know what else can happen.
I love it, dude. I love it.
I don't want to provoke 2020 though, because 2020 has been awesome. It's been like, yeah, what?
2020 is like, you thought you were going to do something fun. Not so much.
So what are you drinking this week? What you got in the cup?
So, this week, man, I went I went with Uncle Nearest 1884.
Okay.
Splash it with a little bit of ginger ale because it is Monday. I was like, man, do I want to go straight up? Because you've been drinking all yours straight up. And I was like, I'm just going to splash it with a little ginger ale so I don't go too deep.
Last week for me, we had a guest. Akuba was our guest, and I tried to match her with Hennessy. I did not realize till I watched the replay that Akuba was mixing her Henny. I was drinking mine straight. Bad idea, bad decision. So all my viewers out there, don't drink Henny like that on a Monday. You can say have a great Monday. It's not to say there was any hangovers that came over. We don't know about those things. But Henny straight, yeah.
All right. So Henny straight on a Monday. How did you feel on Tuesday waking up?
Tuesday, I mean, I'm a champ, right? So I know what to do, right? Like I'm going to drink Gatorade and a loaf of bread. No, I just hydrate well and I'm fine. It's just, you get a little bit older, you start tasting liquor. You're like, man, a little bit much, right?
Yeah.
So luckily I let some of that ice melt down. So it was okay.
Smart man. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to figure out a way to edit in a loaf of bread right next to you in last week's episode. So anytime you raise your hand, you're going to have a loaf of bread in your hand. I don't know if I'm that good with my editing skills yet, but we'll work it out.
Bread. No shiggity. Nah.
No shiggity.
This week, I have actually a really crazy story about my liquor choice. So I was trying to match. I don't have a cabinet like Jeff has a cabinet. I'm trying to step my cabinet game up, right? So I decided what I was going to do was I was going to go ahead and go to the liquor store, local liquor store. It's around Thanksgiving, you know, let's just see kind of what's going on here, right? So I go to the liquor store with my sister. My sister came into town for the holidays. I completely forget my mask, right? I'm freaking out, right? Never have I ever imagined that in 2020, forgetting this little piece of fabric wrap around your ears would freak you out this much, right?
Yep.
I'm panicking through the car. I'm looking through. I'm like, oh, I gotta have a backup mask somewhere. I go grab a T-shirt out of my trunk, and I proceed to go like summer camp style. You know, you ever been in summer camp? You take a T-shirt, try to do what you can to like cool you down. I'm wrapping this thing around my face. It's a long sleeve T-shirt. I got it like 3-4 times wrapped around my face because I don't have a big head, right? I go into the store. I'm like, please don't think I'm robbing this place because I got a T-shirt. It's a weird T-shirt on my face, right? I'm walking in. The guy's like, yeah, okay, whatever. So I say to him, I say, hey, what do you got? I need something new. He's like, something new. I got you. What do you like? Of course, everyone knows I like brown. So we venture into the whiskeys. He shows me Suntory whiskey.
Okay.
This is Japanese whiskey, established 1923. It has a sweet and spice kick to it. Supposed to be really good. He says, you got to try this liquor out. It's the fastest selling one inside the store. I started asking him, I'm like, yo, give me some notes. He says, it's sweet and spicy. I was like, I've heard enough. I'll take it. Let's go. Right.
Take it.
I said, now, if I don't like this, can I come back? He says, yeah, definitely come back. I said, when are you open? Are you open tomorrow? He says, yeah, I'm here every day. I said, are you the owner? Like I as in mine, or I as in I kind of work this shift? He says, I as in mine. I said, well, here we go. Here we go. Well, good sir. I started putting on my elevator pitch, right? Well, good sir. My name is Cary, and we run a podcast called Drunk Mondays. He's like, where's this going? A guy is pitching me on a podcast right now. He also asked me about Japanese whiskey. He gave me a great discount on this bottle and said, please endorse him. So Cadian over at C&K package store off of Camelton. Awesome folks. Definitely hooked me up here. I have a cup. I will let you know how I feel about it. Cadian, big shout outs to you. Thank you for this endorsement. So.
I love it, man. I love it. So I feel like now are you gonna just go back to Cadian and give him, hey, this is what I thought about the liquor, and put me onto a new bottle? What's up? Where's this gonna go?
We might. It depends. Now here's as you know me, right? It really depends on how good of an endorsement this is, right? So as we taste this, I'm gonna say to myself, yeah, was he good or bad here? And you know, some of this is like getting a barber, so it's like acquiring my taste, right?
I mean, but does the discount make it taste better?
I think the discount changes the tone. It might not exactly change the flavor. So something free, right? I usually get free stuff all the time. Doesn't mean that it's the best quality. Right?
I feel you.
So, and to Cadian's point, it wasn't free, but it was heavily redacted in price. So big shout outs to him for hooking up the guy with the T-shirt. He probably never saw my face. So he was like, I'm confused about what's going on here, but big shout out. They definitely came through for me in a pinch. So
that's what's up, man.
So let's go on and cheers for this week before we get into some stuff here.
Yeah. Boom.
Here we go.
Drunk Mondays.
Spicy. It is spicy.
So it is spicy.
Has a little sweet, spicy. That was pretty accurate.
Okay. All right. So here's the thing. Would you suggest that to someone else who's a whiskey drinker?
If they want sweet and spicy.
Okay. All right.
If they're looking for something exotical in the cabinet, you know, like
is that a word?
Exotical?
Exotical?
It's a Monday's word.
Okay. Carry on.
If you're looking for something exotic to put into your cabinet, something that you can roll through and say, I like it, or this is interesting, I would suggest it. So
exotic is a word, not exotic.
Exotic is the word, but we will call the act of wanting exotic.
Exotical. Boom. So last week we had fashiggity, and this week we have exotical.
A word of the day. If we had Pee Wee Herman word of the day, woo, exotical.
So hey man, so this week, last week was Thanksgiving. How did it go? You had family at the crib, right?
I did have family at the crib. It was awesome. It was great to have family coming to town. We all abided by coronavirus restrictions and, social distancing where possible. I had everybody go ahead and do the mask when they were getting their food and, hand sanitizer. It was great having family in town. What about you? Did you guys make it out to Augusta?
Yeah, so we did normally. So that's become a tradition for us ever since we had kids, to try to get to both houses in the same day. So we'll go do the in-laws since they're in Snellville, and then we'll eat there, and then boom, have the bags packed and shoot on down to Augusta and do the family thing with them. But this year my mom was like, I really don't want to have that many people in the house, so come on Friday. And I'm like, you know what? I really don't want to be in the house full of people either, so I'm cool with coming on Friday.
Right. That's what you want.
I mean, low key, I just really wanted the potato salad and the dressing and the rice and gravy. Like my mom's rice and the gravy is fire. Which is such an odd thing. Like you don't really even think about the gravy, but no, it's like I have to have that thing. Right. And so the mac and cheese, yeah. I mean, because the turkey is the turkey. The ham, I will say Candace's ham is fire. Candace's ham is real fire. So still eating ham sandwiches today.
Oh yeah, see that. I thought this was weird at first. That I was like, I don't really want the whole plate. I want a ham sandwich with it. Right?
That's it.
I gotta say, our ham is fire as well, right?
Okay.
It's supposed to be because we bought it from Honey Bake. It should be good. Right? So says the countless people walking through that store to get hams all day. Right?
You can't go wrong with a Honey Bake ham, though.
It's pretty standard. If you don't know how to cook ham, you don't want to cook ham, if that's not something you aspire to do inside your Thanksgiving practice, go buy it.
Or if you don't want, we have this huge ham. I mean, like ham. And if you don't want ham, you just want ham.
Right.
Honey Bake ham has your sizes.
It gets the job. Right.
Game. Exactly.
Right. I got to give props to my wife. She cooked so this thing started off as like, oh, we're going to have some people come over. I'm going to make a dish. Right. But then the requests start coming in. People start being like, well, can you make the mac and cheese? Because you do mac and cheese. And then they're like, can you make some pie? Right. Next thing you know, it's the dressing. Can you make the dressing? Right. And God bless her. She never turns down anybody. She's slaving in front of the stove all day and hosting family and all those things. She made it happen. It was fantastic. The stuffing, the dressing, all that stuff. It was fantastic stuff.
Well, see, my philosophy on Thanksgiving is I have to have my flavors right. Like I've had the same flavors for 37 years. And so as much as I love my wife's mom, the flavors are different. So I got to get to Augusta to get my flavors right. But in y'all's case, I would much rather have the main dishes made in my house. This way they're trusted and I can know I can eat those. Versus somebody who I vaguely trust their cooking bringing food to my house. Because then I'm like, I'll skip that whole dish. And it's not just, I just, oh, Jeff, you going to have some of this? No, I'm not eating that. I'm going to stick to these dishes we made.
No, I think one of the more fantastic things on that same note, my mom usually makes mac and cheese, and she has this recipe for mac and cheese. It's the best mac and cheese I've ever had in my life. Right?
Tried and true.
Once we got married, she gave my wife all the ingredients and all the like, this is it. This is the key. These are the keys to pass down when it comes to the mac and cheese.
Right.
And my wife has done some stuff to it. She's like made it kind of her own deal. And I've been like, this is the best mac and cheese I've ever had in my life, right?
Wow.
So now we use that mac and cheese, and people are like my brother-in-law came by. He's like, hey, so we're gonna get together this weekend. How much mac and cheese is left? We were like, not that much mac and cheese. He was like, forget the whole plate. Right. I was like, whoa, that's pretty serious, but I understand. I totally get it. Right.
I mean, you mac and cheese is such an important staple to Thanksgiving. Like, I think one year my mom used the wrong noodle and I was like, I wanted to try something new. I said, you do not try nothing new.
Oh, not at Thanksgiving. No. Not at Thanksgiving.
Bruh. And so me, I'm literally, I was probably like 33 at the time. And I'm like pouting because it's just like the spiral joints don't hold the cheese.
It's not the same. It's not the same noodle. It's not an elbow. It's nah. We weren't looking for corkies, right?
You're just looking for elbow. Just looking for it. I don't ask for much. And so I ever since then, she's been boom, boom, boom. She's like, I ask her and I hold her like, hey, you didn't change the noodle this year, did you? Like,
you stuck with what we know, right? What we know and love. That's what we got to roll with.
I don't ask for much. Like literally, I don't. I just Thanksgiving, like you can do whatever you want for New Year's, Arbor Day, 4th of July. I don't care. Thanksgiving,
right?
That's a no transition day.
So let me ask you this. Did you go through this with your Thanksgiving experience? This is my Thanksgiving experience. No matter how many times I've been through Thanksgiving, and now counting it, it's been like 37 Thanksgivings, right? Every year I have to go through a bit of language acquisition, right? What do I mean by language acquisition? So someone says, pass the stuffing.
Right.
Someone looks around the kitchen like, all I got is dressing.
All I got is dressing.
What do you call that? Oh, this is dressing. No, this is stuffing. And I never get the differences. I don't know what's going on.
I think stuffing is what you do when you take the same product and stuff it in the bird. And so people used to do that before we were like, hey, are you getting raw bird drippings? Are you getting salmonella in your dressing or in the stuffing? And so now we don't do that anymore. But I think that's what stuffing is.
See that, but see, that's not what stuffing has become, though.
No.
Right? Stuffing is the stuff in the pan that's not the sweet potatoes, which we'll come to in a second, right? Sweet potatoes, mac and cheese, green beans, collard greens. It's some other stuff, right? Yep. I would call it stuffing, right?
The other stuff.
Right. I didn't know what it was. I didn't even know what ingredients what was in it until my wife was like, cut up some celery. I was like, celery is in this? Right. She's like, and then mix up the cornbread. There's cornbread in this? I never knew any of these things. I didn't know what was in this thing at all.
Hey, I just know that I struggle with the mashed potato people. Like, to me,
who's doing mashed potatoes?
A lot of people are doing mashed potatoes at Thanksgiving, and I'm like, bruh.
Potatoes? What are you talking about? If I showed up to your Thanksgiving and I see mashed potatoes, I'm turning around and walking away immediately.
Thank you. Bruh, like, why are they there?
Wait, is this a joke? Do you want me to leave? No. Here's a question for you. So we talked about stuffing and dressing, right? Yams versus sweet potatoes. I just recently found out that yams are a completely other vegetable. I was like, what? And I was like, sweet potatoes are yams. Yams are sweet potatoes. She's like, no. Yams taste different. And I was like, what? You're lying. I don't believe you. That's like saying Publix and Kroger. Yes, they are the same thing, just a little bit different. I didn't know what was going on. Someone said, pass the yams. And I was like, oh, okay.
Is that next to the stuffing?
What are you mean, the sweet potatoes? And they were like, no, I mean the yams. I was like, one, I saw the receipt. There are no yams. No yams were cooked today.
You want to see? I got the receipt right here. It says yams.
Organic sweet potato.
Oh, so y'all went with the organic sweet potato. I see you.
You gotta where you can upgrade. You might not be able to upgrade on everything. The celery, you're gonna go with the one in the bag, right?
You're going with the regular one.
Right. But when you're looking at the sweet potatoes, right?
Right.
This is all, again, you guys know I can kind of get a little bit neurotic about these things, right? I'm going through the supermarket. I'm looking at the piles of things, right?
Mm-hmm.
I go to the more expensive organic sweet potato because I know people are not going there. So there's less people touching them, going through them, picking them. And and honestly, I don't really understand the differences. Like I'm the guy that's sitting at the potato bin watching the other people that are like, oh, this is a good one.
Right.
This one good. Right. I'm like, I have no idea. Is there a sound? Does it echo locate the sweetness? I don't know is it a color. I don't know what's going on there. So I just go with the organic one. And then if it tastes like crap, then I can always be like, well, it's organic. So you're looking for the additives.
Hey, I don't know. I don't go to the grocery store at all. Like I struggle with it because I get lost and there's too many people and I don't know where stuff is. And so I end up just walking up and down aisles for an hour. Nope. Don't want to be bothered with it. I don't go grocery shopping.
That's why I like places like Target and Walmart where I can just open up my app and be like H7, H7, H. This is H, and this is 7. But the thing isn't here. Right? You said it was in stock.
I guess they're out.
Right? No, that's not me at all. Me is the person that's like hitting the button to call the person that's here. It's like, explain this, please. This app, right? And you know what annoys me at those stores when I ask if something's in stock and the person pulls out something that looks like a cell phone and put it in. And they're like, oh, I spelled it wrong. I spelled car seat wrong. I spelled it with a K. It's just like, what are you talking about? Right.
They're on the same website as you are.
Right. You're like, oh, are you just searching the inventory? Well, it says that we got low stock. Yeah. I'm like, hey, Mike, look at the app here.
Maybe it just came in and it's in the back.
It's in the truck.
Yeah. No, man. But no, I love like Thanksgiving is probably one of my favorite holidays. I appreciate the food. I appreciate the family. But I mean, honestly, I went to the gym this morning. Like, so how you feel? I'm like, hey, I've been eating apple pie and sweet potato pie for breakfast every day. So I feel great.
Yeah, my wife had a piece of sweet potato pie for breakfast one day. And I was like, oh, okay. That's how we like vacation.
I can't lie. So a friend of ours, so the godmother to our son, Xavier and Avery, Tasha, she's a baker, and she makes this sweet potato bourbon pound cake.
I've heard it. I've heard it's legendary.
Let me tell you, you cut a slice. I'm not even lying. It doesn't make it to the plate. You eat it out your hand or off a napkin. And then you got to cut another slice because you realize that you ate the slice that you intended to sit down with, but you ate that slice where you were standing up. And so you got to get another slice just so that you can sit down with it. Oh, gosh.
That's dangerous. I can say this, at least when it comes to sweet things, I'm probably the world's most on the defense type of person because I know I have an inclination to like just once it hits your lips, it becomes like an addiction. So I'm like, no. People are like, just have a little. No. Because I will sit here and eat half your cake, half your pound cake will be gone. Because I'll be like, oh, I'm just taking a nibble, just another nibble, 3 nibbles, maybe 4 nibbles. That's fine. Well, at this point, you might as well get another slice.
Okay, so next time we do a family get together or wherever we're gonna go out to dinner, I'm gonna get Tasha to make the original name for it was the sweet Pobisky, but she was like nobody wants to call it that, and so I'm like, well, I'm gonna call it
name
that.
Is the sweet Pobisky.
It's called the sweet Pobisky.
That's an insider's name. You like if she opens up a store, and people are like, oh, I want that bourbon pound cake. You're like, no. Obviously, you're a regular. You're not a
regular.
Sweet Pobisky for one, please.
Yes.
Take it for 3.
It's like, can I have 3 slices for 1?
3 slices, 3 for 1. It's a 3 for 1 deal. 3, 2, 1. 3
with extra glaze.
Extra glaze,
extra shot of bourbon.
Right.
No, so like seriously, like let me tell you, like that cake is such a blessing to the soul. I mean, it doesn't make sense why it tastes so good. It's so light and fluffy, but bourbony and pound cakey, and then the sweet potato comes through. It's like, dear Jesus, how does this taste as good as it does?
Right. No.
Damn it! Now I want that cake.
You better call her up and be like,
trust. I'm sending her. If my phone wasn't being used to record this, I would be sending her a text message saying, "Hey, can I get a sweet Pobisky next weekend?" You know. Anyway.
I love it. But yeah, I mean, I love the holiday too. I mean, I really get a lot of joy from seeing family just get together, right? Mm-hmm. And it more so comes along in like the small moments where you see a cousin talking with a sibling or somebody. Yeah. Or somebody has some great story about something they went to go do. Mm-hmm. I spend a lot of time with my younger brother, who I hardly ever get to see. We're so different in age. We have like 17 years apart. So it's just cool to sit down with him and be like, hey, what are you up to? Like, what's going on in your world, right?
And this is your first time hosting everybody at your house, right?
So we tried to do this last year. Mm-hmm. And I think just because it was new, we had just recently moved. It was kind of getting everyone into the same space was cool. But I think this year, a lot more of my family came this year. Gotcha. So that was cool to have them come in. And like my sister and my brother, it was probably their first time in our house. So
wow.
And it's good that we now have a space where we can host and like hold, like, oh, you don't have to go stay in a hotel, be worried about germs there. You know how we get down.
Right.
Ice off for days. You about to wash these hands. You about hand sanitizer. Y'all are good. Just stay, So I really appreciate it. Thanksgiving was awesome this year.
That's awesome.
Coronavirus.
That's awesome.
Yeah, man. So let's get into some of this other stuff, right?
Yeah.
Yo, this week, crazy.
We got news. We got good stuff this week.
Crazy news this week, right? Out of nowhere, like a moth to the flame, burned by the fire, right? Mm-hmm. I heard Tyson was boxing Jones.
Yes.
And I said, aren't they old? And someone,
old.
It's going down, right? Old. I got to give props. Did you watch the fight?
I watched it.
It was crazy, right? I got to say the Tyson Jones fight was, I got to give mad props to Mike Tyson here, right? It seems like it's his app or something, the fight app or whatever was going down, but just the stylistic cues of doing this whole deal, right?
Okay.
That it was down at the Staples Center, black background, well choreograted. It was coordinated. Everything was really well.
It looked good.
I was like, man, the visuals here, if this is like some type of launch for this platform or the first time I've ever heard it, this is a great introduction and going on here. And it was an amazing fight. It was an amazing fight.
I got to give Mike Tyson credit for not killing Roy Jones.
Right.
I mean, because even in his training videos, I was like, bruh, Mike Tyson got to be 50, 60 years old. Like, right. If he connects with any of those shots clean, bruh, he's dying.
Now, I could say Mike Tyson is like, I think Mike Tyson's like 55, 56, right?
Mm-hmm.
but his hands are about 21.
Oh no, Mike will still give hands now.
Right. I saw a couple of the slow-mo clips. I thought Mike might have pulled it a little bit, like a kidney shot right here, but I'm not going to. And I was like, man, give him props. Like on his post-fight interview, Mike showed incredible growth as a person to say, it's a draw. I will take the draw. I love that we got to just do this. I want to do this. And I was like, this is a businessman talking here. I'm proud of Mike.
Yeah, I mean, I appreciated it for the entertainment factor, right? Like, it looked like two drunk uncles fighting after they done had too much Hennessy after Thanksgiving, right? Like you had the family reunion and your uncles somebody done reneged. And this is the fight that ensues, right? Like that's what I felt like this was gonna be. But I mean, props to the old man. You know, Roy Jones ain't been hot since he dropped that. What's his song? You must have forgot. Didn't he had a rap song? He had a whole song.
He had a whole rap song. Got a whole YouTube following on rap song.
So shout out to both of them for being the I'll say being the main event, but at the end of it all, being the undercard, because clearly what stole the show was Nate Robinson getting knocked out
by Jake Paul. Man, what?
I didn't even know who that cat was.
I didn't know. So I thought so. This is where I feel like I'm probably getting older now, right? Getting more out of touch with things, right? So I'm like Jake Paul, Jake from State Farm? No, Jake. Like,
is it Paul Wall?
Paul, not Paul Walker. Paul Walker dead.
Yeah, I was like, is it Paul Wall, the rapper with the teeth?
Jake Paul. And then
I was gone. I was lost.
Said, oh, he be in the videos with his brother. So then I Googled him. I looked him up. Logan Paul and Jake Paul are brothers. And it was the same dude. I could have sworn this was the same guy. I think his brother is the guy that drops down and does splits and has the following. But either way, I think both of them are semi-controversial for things that they've done and said in the past. And Nate Robinson is obviously an ex-basketball player that says, I'm going to put this fist in your mouth on live TV. He trains up. He worked hard. He really worked hard to get to this space. The problem is that Jake Paul apparently worked a little bit harder, right?
Nate Robinson cannot go back to the group chat. like this dude overnight went from, oh, you're that dude who played in the NBA that's really short that won the dunk contest that one time, to you're the dude who Simba was pushing on talking about get up daddy and now you're a meme. Like,
but, hey, in the road to infamy, he has become infamous, right? I have to give him that. I think before that fight, right? Nate Robinson might have faded, right? There were a couple times where I was like, 3-time dunk champion?
He won it 3 times?
That's what they kept saying. I was like, 3 times?
Well, he got knocked out 1 time.
3 times, right? But now that he got knocked out 1 time, you will never forget it, right?
Bruh, like when he hit the ground, in my mind, I was like, we fall down, but didn't get up. I was like, bro, he's out. He's dead.
I knew it was going to be a wrap for him once I saw how he came out. He came out pretty aggressive, right? And people were like, whoa, slow down. And it's bad. I got to give props. The hero of the night for this whole fight thing was Snoop Dogg. Snoop Dogg's commentary was off the chain.
Off the chain. Like, I need more commentary from Snoop doing everything.
I didn't know I needed Snoop commentating sports in my life, but this has turned out to be the greatest thing. I think he's going to actually get a deal doing Monday Night Football.
And that would be awesome.
The best Monday Night Football you've ever seen, right?
I would watch competitive jump rope
with Snoop.
Yes, if Snoop was, bruh.
It would be hilarious. I would watch this all the time. I tune in. Now, the question to you. What sport could Snoop commentate on that would get you to watch that you would never watch before?
Curling.
And this is where my mind was going, right?
Oh yeah, like because that's such a boring sport. I tried. I don't know the rules, so I don't really care. Or could you imagine him? What's the one where you throw the bean bags?
Oh, cornhole.
I would love to see, because that's typically not many black people are participating in that. So you got Snoop's high as a kite self doing the play-by-play for cornhole.
Right.
Dead.
Like, all right. Right.
Yeah, he just loud as hell. Like,
I can't do a Snoop, but I can't imagine how excited I would be to watch if they said, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Summer Olympics to take place in 21 with your commentary by Snoop
Dogg.
Right?
Okay, hold on. If it's the Olympics, are they going to call him by his government name, or are they going to call him Snoop Dogg?
They got to call him Snoop Dogg.
Okay, all right.
They got to call him Snoop Dogg. And he has to come up with an entourage and a whole deal, because I think this would be perfect, fantastic. You would see. So all these channels are talking about how ratings have gone down, right? And they've been blaming on Black Lives Matter until the Masters golf also went down in ratings. And then it's like, oh, this is the most cool sport that you can have. The ratings also went down, right? Add Snoop to it. I guarantee everybody to, right?
Like, it would be, if Snoop did the Masters,
right?
That would probably be the fun, because he's not going to be quiet.
Right.
It's not going to be this and Tiger from 10 feet out. No, it's going to be loud and obnoxious. I can't believe he damn did it. Right. Like, it's hilarious.
I hope some executive watched that fight and said, this is what we need to do. And more so, this is what I would tune into. What I need NBC to do is recognize that they used to have Matt Lauer, and Matt Lauer is now a sexual abuser, or he's done a bunch of crazy things. Got to get this guy up out of here, right? I need them to have one channel of T.I. and Snoop do the whole Olympics. I would love it. I would be like, oh my God.
All right, hold on. What's that show? Is it Good Morning America with Michael Strahan?
Yeah.
I feel like he should be replaced by Snoop Dogg. Like, I'd watch Good Morning America if it was Snoop Dogg and whoever the other person was. Wouldn't even matter.
I can't vote for that because I for the culture card revoked, right? Because I got everyone. We got to get more culture in there, more culture, right?
So I can't replace Michael Strahan.
No. You can say, because Al Roker's out at NBC, right?
Okay.
Let's move Snoop in temporarily, see how he does. Maybe we add another chair.
All right, hold on. All right, so what about when Whoopi retires from The View and you slide in Snoop? I mean, that's about the same person.
I'd actually say this brings up something that we're probably going to get into later on tonight, right?
Okay, yep.
Diversity points, right? I'm for all types of diversity, right? I don't care. I want to see the most diverse everything, right? And it comes down to it, like when I look at Amy Coney Barrett, who's just on the Supreme Court.
Yep.
I heard it came down to her and a woman of Latino descent out of Florida. I cannot think of what her name is, right?
Irrelevant, but I get it.
But the thought to me, and this lady in Florida was apparently, she's a ultra conservative Republican. Well, and the thing that I'm thinking to myself is, why wouldn't you go for more diversity, right? Why wouldn't? I'm not a Republican. I'm not that conservative. All these things. But it just seems in my mind in 2020, go as diverse as you possibly can. Replace Whoopi Goldberg with Cardi B. Ratings will go up. Skyrocket.
So
whatever she wants.
Deep down that Donald J. Trump wasn't going to nominate a Hispanic woman to the Supreme Court.
I'm just saying, someone's got to be in that room. This is why I don't work in the White House, because I'd be like, well, you said you've done more for us than Abraham Lincoln. So good, sir. Now is the time to put up or shut up, sir.
And then he's going to go, when did I say that?
He's going to be like, get out my office.
Hold on. I'm tweeting firing you right now.
Right. You're gone. You just don't know it yet. Exactly. Well, right.
Wait till you check Twitter.
Right. See that firing go down. But that's what I'm saying. Like, Whoopi Goldberg goes out, replace her with somebody even more crazier, right? I'm down for it. Why not? I mean,
so you go Whoopi to Cardi B.
Whoopi to Cardi, definitely, right? I'm trying to think of who else I would slot in there.
Her voice is so annoying, though.
Hey, I mean, I think there was a time when people thought Whoopi was a bit annoying in terms of her voice, right? And it was the scratchy voice, but even maybe her approach. I mean, I remember there was some controversy for Whoopi Goldberg, maybe back in the 80s or so. But Whoopi is Whoopi, right?
Whoopi is Whoopi.
Right?
So we can't replace Whoopi with Snoop Dogg, is what you're saying.
No. Well, I mean, we have to give us diversity points for that, right? I would say, yeah, it's all women thing. Let's throw a guy in there, right?
Hey, throw a guy in, and I guarantee you, the only difference, I'm sure Whoopi shows up high on set.
You think so?
Oh, Whoopi has to.
I think Whoopi shows up about that life, right? Which is totally different mode of that day, right? Like there's a mode that sometimes Black people get into, or people of color, period, right? Where if it was the right type of day, the precipice of this day got you into a mood that's like, I'm here for it today.
I mean, I think Whoopi shows up like that because she has to deal with Meghan McCain. And so anytime you got to deal with her, you got to show up about that life ready to fight.
All right.
Like, I'd throw a chair at Meghan McCain.
All right. You'd hit her like with Randy Savage.
Oh, yeah. Bah, bah. Yeah. And they hit her with the Ric Flair.
Woo.
Yeah. Showtime. Yeah.
But no, so talking about this fight, Snoop Dogg, commentary of the night. And
he stole the show.
He then performed. And I got to say, I did not care for any of the performances except for Snoop, right?
Except for Snoop.
I just wasn't feeling it.
But who knew Snoop had Snoop is a character, and it's funny when you look at the evolution of Snoop Dogg from old Snoop to household name Snoop. But I mean, who knew he had this level of genius? I'll call what he did that day genius, because I mean, he was just pound for pound. He was blow for blow. He was he was right off the cuff with his jokes. I mean, he was just on time and perfect. Everything was just right every single time. Shout out to Snoop Dogg.
But I'm not surprised. He had a show with Martha Stewart.
You're right. Yeah.
Anybody who can have a show with Martha Stewart, you got something special.
My man's diverse. I mean, he when we look at the end of it all, a lot of people will throw a lot of flowers towards Ice Cube and Ice-T for diversifying their career. But I mean, you got to throw Snoop into that mix now. I mean, because I completely forgot about his show with Martha Stewart, and then to do what he did with the hosting, of a fight. Snoop's got to be in that category of the best transformation from rapper to everyday dude.
That's again why I think we talked about this before with Luda versus T.I., right? I gotta say, Olympics commentary by T.I. and Snoop Dogg on one separate channel. Some separate. I get the mainstream, the main kind of line has to be regular folks, right?
So you want ESPN Urban?
No. I just want like, it just can be internet based too, right? Because I think that's where a lot of our folks are kind of gonna maybe tune into something like that, right?
NBC Black,
NBC Urban marketing. I don't know. Maybe call it the rebirth of City Guys. I don't know.
Right. It's showing right before the Olympics today. Will be Baby Boy on rerun.
Hey, why are you playing CBS? And I was like, whoa, well, what? Right? I was like, CBS is showing Coming to America?
Leading up to the 100-meter sprints, we'll be showing Coming to America and Soul Plane.
Hey, man, but you can't tell me if you found out NBC paid Snoop and T.I.
I'd watch it.
special events during the Olympics, right?
Yep.
And some of the most underwatched ones, you wouldn't be glued to it like, yo, what?
I'd watch it.
I would love it. I would love it. I would love watching it. I think it would be good TV. It'd be good for the Olympics. And you might see more diversity come in as this is the door that opens it. And
I'd be all in for Snoop Dogg being Joe Biden's press secretary. Like in today's press briefing, here's Snoop Dogg.
Right. After shizzle. Right. Right. I just think it would be good. So Nate Robinson getting knocked out definitely was the highlight of the night. I remember watching it as it went down. He's
still there.
That head went down head first to the mat. Pow, pow, pow.
Like,
right?
When I saw it, I was like, where was Rocky? Why he didn't throw in the towel? Like, bro, I was like, why y'all gonna let that man do that to him?
Quick too, man. And I think to some of the celebrities that have come out and still said, Nate, we still rocking with you. I got to give them props here, right? This is where I do have to give them props. It takes a lot of gall to say, I'm just going to train up and box somebody on national TV. And keep in mind, he only got $600 for the fight, right? He got $600. Jake Paul only got $600 as well.
I was gonna say they paid him like a crackhead.
They paid them super low money, right? So to step out, and I think this is what people talk about a lot of times, stepping out on faith. You know what I mean?
He didn't step out on faith.
He didn't. No.
No. That wasn't faith. Like he got knocked out for $600.
Hey, but he became legendary for $600.
You're right. He became a meme. I mean, hey, I guess you'll live forever as the meme, and I guess that's where he is right now.
Hey, I mean, I'm not a meme. I'm not someone that's out there legendary forever. You will always remember Nate Robinson now, right?
And it's funny because now that you say that, I said in another text group, and maybe it was in our text group, I was like, my goal in life is to never become a meme.
How many text groups you got?
I got a lot of text groups, man. You got, I bounce between a couple.
Hey, I get it. But yeah, I mean, that's legendary and just in the terms of where we are in a society that people are content creators, we're podcasts. I mean, there's certain values that come along with you will always get an interview. You will always be known as the person that got knocked out by Jake Paul, right?
So crying Jordan, crying Denzel face, Nate Robinson. Those are the memes to me in that order now.
But see, the interesting thing is going to be seeing how they use that meme going forward. Like, what has to happen? When do you bust this out and say, yeah, this is the perfect time that every time we go with it?
Yeah, I mean, because the crying Jordan meme, I mean, that's always going to be right there. And, anytime something bad happens to you, you can crying Jordan meme that. But you're right. With the Nate Robinson joint, it's going to have to be specific situations where you're going to throw out the Nate Robinson.
Right. And now, I mean, we'll see how time tells on that one.
Yeah.
So what else happened out in the world?
Man, go ahead. No, I was going to say, you had that Young Thug and Andre 3000 beef, and I saw that hit Twitter, and I was like, who the hell is Young Thug?
Hey, man. This is crazy.
I don't know any of his songs. And then I was like, so who he said come out like he doesn't know anything from Andre or doesn't remember any Andre 3000. I was like, who are you?
Right.
I was upset for Andre, and Andre probably didn't even get he probably doesn't even know who Young Thug is. And I'm upset for Andre.
And see, this is the sad part about this, right? Is that so Young Thug is an artist signed to T.I.'s label, blowing up. He's been very popular with his demographic, right? His targeted demographic. But the whole thing that started this off was he was on T.I.'s podcast Expeditiously. He did an interview. T.I. was interviewing him, asking him about his career. Notably, on one of his albums, he wears a dress, right? So he asked him, he says, hey, this dress, and I'm doing the worst summary ever. So if you want to go check it out, go check out that podcast. Go check out all the stories on it. Fact checkers, go out there and fact check me because I know I get things wrong all the time. But this is my summary of this, right? So he's out there with T.I. They're doing an interview. T.I. asks him about the dress and says, a lot of people said this was in the vein of an Andre 3000, right? Mm-hmm. He says, I don't really know about that. I don't know anything about Andre and his music. I'm not one of those people that kind of follows him like that, right? And then he proceeds to reference how he did a song with Elton John. And he, using much more mainstream language, he says to the note of, Elton John is basically a type of fan of my music. So when Elton John approaches and says, let's do a record, I'm down. Andre wants to have his behind kissed like he's a legend.
Wow.
I don't mess with artists like Dre, right? And T.I. says, so you never listened to any of this? Now, give props to T.I., who navigates this as someone that understands his place in the Atlanta history.
Exactly.
And says, you don't know what you're missing out on. You're missing a whole lot of culture behind Andre 3000. Now, the sad part about this is, leaving out of that interview, you would have the assumption that Dre is up here and Young Thug is somewhere else out in the ether, that these people do not really know who each other are. Actually, Andre 3000 has been quoted in the past as referencing Young Thug and has had nothing but nice things to say about him, right? He says he's a great artist. There is no box when it comes to Young Thug. The singing, rapping thing that he does is his own style. We need more of this in music, right? This is why he looks like a lame duck. It looks like a lame shot. Bad on you, Young Thug, man. Where are you at, man?
Man, anytime a rapper comes for Andre 3000, I struggle with it because, like, this dude, it's not even Atlanta history, right? Like, this dude at this point is hip hop royalty to the industry, right? And so for you to say, you know, hey, I don't even know this cat, right? Like, you could have said, hey, you know what? I'm not up to breast with his music, or, hey, I know he's a great rapper. You know, I know some of his songs, but I'm not fully aware of his entire catalog. There's so many other things you could say, but for you to throw shots at a man that's hip hop royalty at this point, now, I mean, like this dude doesn't have to make music, and we all sit around every day clamoring for the day that Andre and Outkast drop another song.
We just need a verse. I just need a great verse, right?
Like, and you're just clamoring, right? And if Young Thug never made another song, the streets would not care, right? We wouldn't be looking for a Young Thug song. The fact that I can't name one Young Thug song.
I can't go that far, right? I know.
Give me one.
I can name a few, man, but Hercules is one of them that I was like, yeah, you got some track there. Now, but he has his own new style, is what I would say, right?
Okay, I'll say this. If a song came on that was his, I could probably hum it because I've heard it on the radio. But to say, oh, that's Young Thug, nope, not at all.
Now, see, where I would go with this for me is I can respect the artistry of everyone out there, but what I can't respect is that you come from a city that has put legends out there and you don't know your own history, right? Like, that's unfortunate for me because I wonder, I'd say Young Thug is very successful, right? How much more successful could you have been if you knew the catalog of Outkast, Andre 3000, and people that might have come before him? Right. Yet you sound like if it's not about you, you're not about that life, which is incredibly limiting to your own progress as an artist, to your own evolution as an artist, because you're just instantly saying, unless someone tells me they're a fan of me, which you're lucky enough to have Elton John say he's a fan of you, right?
Right.
But if they're not a fan of you, you don't listen to them. That's incredibly sad. That's very unfortunate and sad. And I feel bad for your fans because you're not stretching your artistry. You're not trying to reach your full potential as an artist. Instead, you want to be basic. And I don't have time for basic artists.
What's sad is because he's from Atlanta, the reality is he probably has a track that's sampled from one of Andre's songs.
That would be interesting. That would be interesting.
And for you not to even know, being from the city and being and understanding that Atlanta rap and Atlanta music wasn't really on the map before Outkast.
Right.
And so without Andre and Outkast and in the Dungeon family, you probably wouldn't be where you are today.
Right. It's just crazy. It's just like, I'm sorry, what? Right?
Yep. Exactly.
I think we could put that in a file of like, what are you talking about?
Idiot.
So, very sad, very unfortunate. Wish you were there, but you're not rolling with us today.
Yep.
So let's get into some other news. What else we got going on out there?
Man, Joe mother freaking Biden. He just continuously impresses me with the diversity on his staff. We brought it up earlier today. I had to give him props for his whole communications team being women. And I think 3 out of 5 or something, it might've been 50-50, 3 out of 6. I can't remember the exact number, were women of color. So shout out to him. He released his economics team, his economic advisors today. And that was several African-American, one a man, I think one African-American woman. So I think that might've been 2 out of 5. So I am all in for my man understanding the moment and understanding where we are in society and understanding what group of people got him to this moment and saying, hey, I understand, I hear you. And let's make some history. So I appreciate that. Like he had an opportunity. He could have stopped and said, hey, I made history with Kamala. But he's making history all over. So I'm all in for it, man.
I love it. I've said this earlier. I'm all for diversity of all types of diversity. I think America needs to get out of the old white guy is the only person that can do things in America, right?
Yep.
I don't care. And I think there are degrees of diversity out there, right? But I think every step in diversity in the world of diversity is a step forward for America, right? Yep. Because I feel much more trusted in my political figures if they reflect me, right? So I trust that maybe the person that is deciding on fiscal policy or the wordplay that we use for a speech reflects my culture, or at least reflects me to some degree. And maybe we don't have the same political ideology all the time, but I can respect that to some degree. There's something about this person that doesn't look so opposite towards who I am as a person.
And for me, man, it's even the simple things of when he sits down every day to receive his briefings and to have conversations about policy. It's those conversations or the points that he's going to be hit with are going to be diverse because they're coming from people that are from different backgrounds. We all have different walks of life. We could have all went to the same university, right? I saw Mark Rubio trying to question, well, all of these folks are Ivy League educated, right? But that is important. But at the end of the day, just because I have an Ivy League education, my background can be totally different from the person sitting next to me. And so that's super, super important, right? Like he nominated Janet Yellen. She's going to be the first woman as Treasury Secretary if she's confirmed by the Senate, right? And so in the history of this country, we have not saw fit to have a woman be the number one person in the Treasury Department? Like, these are the conversations we're having.
Right. How has that happened?
How is that a thing? Right. And so yes, I give Joe Biden 100% props for walking the walk, right? Because again, I think it's very easy for him to say, we're gonna nominate all white dudes, but we got a black / Jamaican / Indian / Southeast Asian vice president, and we're gonna stop there. But
exactly. I think it's all too easy to get elected and then play politics, right? And start saying things like, oh, well, the way I want to navigate this, I don't want to go too risky and seem like I'm just letting anybody come in, but I should go with the norm because this is what. No, rock the boat, man. Rock the world here, right?
Yeah, man. I'm all in.
Briefing to go down in the White House, right? And to some of our non-minority friends, there's a minority look that happens amongst all minorities, regardless, right? And there's this point in a time where you're in a meeting and someone says something and you look at the next non-white person that you go like this, right? That look tells you all you need to know about the play on the field, right? For Joe Biden to have the emotional intelligence that says,
that's a word right there.
I need to bring in more diversity. That he is, to some degree, truthfully saying the thing about Ms. Harris, that Vice President-elect Harris, right, that he definitely appreciates, is that she will push and challenge him, right? I like what I'm hearing. I like what I'm seeing. We're not bringing in people that will tote the party line, right? We're bringing in people that will say, no, this issue that is happening to minorities is a national issue. It does deserve your priority.
Then for me, man, the thing that I look at, because I just pulled up pictures of the comms team, right? And so and the reason I chose the comms team is because those are going to be the people who are traditionally more out front. And so when I think about where we are as a society and what messaging are we sending to little girls, it was a Karine Jean-Pierre, natural hair, really styled, really cool, Simone Sanders, buzz cut, so you have these images of women that all look very different, when you have Kamala with straight hair. So, you're also telling subtle stories for little girls that say
minutes ago sent out a press.
So yeah, I am all in with these subtle messages that you're dropping in for people as they see, as they see themselves represented in a way that they've never been represented before.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I think the country does better when we have more diverse, both powerful positions that can shape policy or shape the internal conversation, right? If there's someone that can continue to make something an issue that they feel like they haven't had resolved, and enough of those conversations are happening, hopefully these things kind of push to the end. And I know that there are people out there that say, well, we're done with the breadcrumbs, like catching the. But I think in today's environment, you got to get everything you possibly can, right?
And then when you look at, and so I hate to, one of the things that jumped out at me too was that the Homeland Security guy was Hispanic, right? And so you think about the moment, right? When we think about the moment, right? His job is going to be to walk in the door, and he's going to have to reunite children that the last administration stole from their parents. And so here we are, boom, let's give it to a guy who will understand the moment, right? And again, like that's what it's about for me, man. It's allowing everybody to see themselves in this administration, and it forces you to think, man, as a kid, I can shoot higher. But then it also gives you a diverse thought. I think you just said this. It gives you a diverse thought for people that are in the room. I mean, I love it. I'm all in for this. I can't wait to see who else he nominates. I'm hanging on every day. Like, come on, release more people so we can talk about it.
I keep on feeling like I'm getting the dream team, right?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Who else?
I'm excited. I want to see who he nominates for for Attorney General.
Oh yeah, that's gonna
be. My hope is that it's Sally Yates. She's from Georgia.
That would be good. Yeah.
Another woman. And it'll piss off the conservatives because they hate her for what happened at the beginning of the Trump administration. So.
Yeah, I was kind of hoping for Eric Holder to come back, man. I mean, that was just my own personal.
I like Eric.
I like Eric Holder. I like what he did. I thought he was a great attorney general, but I can understand if he doesn't want to do it anymore.
I mean, and also I look at some things and I say, all right, what are these people doing that's outside of politics? And so are they leading movements? Like when I think about like Stacey Abrams, right? I think about Eric Holder's the same way. Eric Holder right now is currently fighting as a lawyer, fighting to break gerrymandering, right? And so I think about he's probably much better served fighting gerrymandering cases,
right?
Because that's where we are right now. So can I get somebody like a Doug Jones who just lost in Alabama, who's a civil rights attorney to serve as attorney general or something like that?
That would be fantastic as well. That would be fantastic.
Hey, as well. I'm literally hanging on every announcement. Like,
I'm just collectively very excited for what this means day one after
day one,
right? The biggest thing that I want to hear though, outside of diversity, my top is student debt relief. I need something to come on down. Come on down. The price is right.
It's amazing how many people don't understand how big that could be for people, right? Like, because I don't have any student debt, but I understand if you said, boom, we're going to take 50 grand and we're going to wipe it away, that gives instant cash to people.
You're talking about supply side economics, right? Look, I could try and give people, because there's all this controversy. If you cut people a check, what they do with the check, right? If you give it to businesses, does the money make it to the person?
Right.
Canceling debt, one, also improves a lot of those people's credit situation, right? Which means they can borrow more.
Exactly.
Household now gains access to funds day
one.
That's immediately available to all those. And what are they going to do with that money?
Spend it
on their family, on the things that they need, on the things that they wanted to do.
Yep. It's an economic engine, and that's where people are getting lost in it. They're like, oh, it doesn't affect me, but it does, right? Me with no debt or no student debt. I'll say I have debt, but no student debt, student loan debt. And you with student loan debt, if you now get access to $1,000 a month that you were shooting out the door to pay student loan debt, you're not saving that. You're pushing that back into the economy, which then makes stock prices go up, which makes which drives that economic engine that this country needs, right? Like it's you spending cash.
Right.
And that's what's most important. I don't care what you're spending on. If you dropped $1,000 a month on alcohol, I'm all, bro, it's your money, but it's about spending it.
It's not my business as a taxpayer because you're getting tax-paying funds. What you do with your money is my decision. That's such a tired argument to me.
But it's irrelevant. I was literally just having this conversation with my mother's husband yesterday or this weekend. He was like, but what if they don't use it for good things? I was like, that's irrelevant. You want people out in the world spending the money because that's now employing people that are working at grocery stores or working at car dealerships or they're working at Old Navy, right? It doesn't matter. The more money the community has to spend, the more they're going to push it out into their local community, their local economy. If you told a student, hey, I'm going to cancel $50,000 of your debt and my credit score goes up, maybe I can buy a house instead of living in an apartment. Now my property taxes, now I have more people paying into the property tax pool, which benefits the schools that my kids go to. It's so much bigger than just dropping your student loan debt by 50 grand. It's so much bigger than that.
Yeah, I can't get on a soapbox here because I will just go off from the moral calculation standpoint of when someone says good things, how much of a judgment is based in that, right? To say what if they do not good things or good things? It says, I'm the one judging what the value is of what.
Exactly.
Yet I don't even do those things, right?
Exactly.
So the pot calling the kettle black, these things don't really work for us, right?
But at the end of the day, I don't care. It's your money. Spend it how you want to.
Do your thing with it, right? Yep. What we won't have is imaginary money holding up people for debt, for things in this whole debt-driven system that's holding them back, right? Now
the thing that I get, it's probably not even a concern, right? Like, what do we come back? Like, I think if you're going to do it, it has to be part of a broader conversation. It can't be, hey, we're going to cancel student loan debt $50,000, or we're going to cancel $50,000 with the student loan debt because there are people in school right now still accumulating that debt. So we're going to come back in 4 years and do it again. Like, there has to be a broader conversation around how we price college, and also how we allow our students to fund college for themselves, right? So it can't just be, let's cancel $50,000 in student loan debt, but we have to have a bigger conversation about how schools are funded and how kids are paying for school.
Yeah, we could dedicate a whole podcast episode to schools.
Hey, I'm all in for that, man.
System.
Policy is my thing, man. I love it.
Well, education is my thing, so into that all day. The system is messy. Is what we can say at this juncture. Is the system is messy. Student loan debt relief is not the only answer, right?
Exactly.
It's criminal justice reform as applies to marijuana laws. You can't legalize marijuana, but keep everyone in jail that was subject to those marijuana laws, and at the same time have a ethically balanced system. I challenge there is this balance from an ethical standpoint, right?
Yeah, I feel like right now we're piecemealing a lot of policies together. Like, we're saying, hey, let's do criminal justice, or let's make marijuana illegal in this state and this state, but not these states, right? And so we have to have some true leadership, right? And that comes from the president all the way down to say, let's tackle as a country some really, really big issues that, even though they don't affect me personally, they're big enough and systemic enough that if we change it, or if we do a better system, like making sure that healthcare is a right, not a privilege, then here's how every boat gets lifted by this one policy change.
Yeah, I think the difficulty, so you've heard me say this before. I think every person is every political ideology all wrapped up into itself. At different very conflict ways. I think there are things about me from a social policy standpoint that are very democratic, right? Though I love the idea of having a Republican fiscal policy, right? Where I don't want to pay out of my pocket to do all these things, right? At the same time, the libertarian in me is very suspectful of how institutions elevate people to make those decisions. I think they get it wrong a lot of times. That's why I'm very interested to see how Joe Biden does, right? Because I think this is the argument. There's 50% of the nation has said, I'm actually for local government instead of national government, right? And I don't think those people should be vilified for that, right?
Nope.
There are Republicans out there that said, I don't care. I don't care for Trump necessarily, right? I don't also care for the Hillarys or the Baracks of the world, because they want this overarching idea of what they deem to be best for someone in New York is the same for someone in Oklahoma. And I can understand that, right? I think the challenge that comes along with this is now for 4 years with someone who I feel like in my lifetime, I haven't seen someone lean as much into weird small government, right? I think Donald Trump was for micro government, right? Which is, this is not a federal issue. This is like a you issue. When that happens and people don't play well with each other is when you start referring to Democrat states or Republican states. And you start this whole thing where this is fixed here, but it's not fixed there. and those people are very affected, but these people aren't affected. And I think that's the problem that we run into now, is now we're seeing that in a system where everyone can kind of do their own thing and people do their own thing, things become chaotic very quickly.
Because what ends up happening is you get a state like Georgia who, or you know, and I think Georgia's unique in as a Republican or purple state, because the vast majority of Georgia is red, but because of the vast populations in their cities, it makes the state purple/blue, right? And so by your definition, you have, you know, hey, all these, you know, all the Democratic states are doing one thing, all the Republican states are doing another. But what about Georgia, who's sitting here and it's like Atlanta's doing one thing, Augusta's doing one thing, Savannah's doing one thing, and then everybody else is doing something totally different. But I think what we have to have, again, it goes back to just having a national leadership, right? Where we can say, hey, here's the overarching issue. What we're going to do as the federal government is we're going to set aside X amount of dollars to deal with this issue. And as states, you now can pull down resources that fit within the framework and the guidelines that we established, but you can still make policies and procedures that best fit your state, right? Because something that happens in New York is going to be totally different than something that happens in Spokane, or Oklahoma, right? And so it's just going to be different. But hey, here's the overarching guidelines of how we will do it. And all you have to do is pull down resources so that you can best tackle it the way that you feel like your state needs to best tackle that.
Or there's just going to be issues that need to be elevated to that level.
Exactly.
Like debt, student loan debt is approaching trillions. I think it's at least $1.5 trillion, if not $2 trillion at this point. And it's crippling the effect of everyone. One, because we've built a system that implies that people must get a degree. But at the same time, the consumer guidance there is that, you know, you want to go to a good school, and by good school, you want to go to a school that has the well-done library, the fantastic sports program, the Olympic-sized pools, the best dorms, and all these things drive costs, and those costs get multiplied. They're multiplying factors. Those factors lead to increases in costs, which now more debt. And now that gets wrapped up into the value of your degree, when the value of your degree is the education in which you do with that education.
And then also what gets tied into that perceived value or perceived reputation of the school, right? Because the reputation of the school from an educational standpoint can be totally different than the reputation of the school that people perceive it to be because of all the things that you're able to build and do because of your endowment, right? But that still then makes it harder for the kid that's in an inner city school to get into your school because of some quote unquote perceived prestige or how your admissions target students to enter your university, right? So
it's just incredibly complicated, right?
It is 100%.
But we can't afford to just say, this is complicated, someone else will deal with it, right?
Exactly. Like we've kicked the can down the road for too long.
And I think it is definitely on our generation to kind of say, okay, let's pause for a second. Let's actually fix this. Now let's go about the work of doing that. But going back to the point, Biden's diverse staff, I think they're up for the job. Hopefully they have student loan debt. Hopefully a lot of them are crippled by their Ivy League education, and they're in those conversations like, we got to do something about this debt.
We got to do something about this debt.
So,
we got to do something about this debt. Debt and healthcare.
So I think we got a little bit of time. I do want to kind of get into this local stuff, right?
All right, cool.
There's some fantastic local news. We are down in Atlanta. Hopefully we'll get a national audience at some point. But in Atlanta's got some really interesting things going down, right? One of the top things that happened this week is Village Market. Village Market is a group that produces, I would love to call this like a market type of show type of deal that happens multiple times a year where people get together. They can support Black-owned businesses, Black-owned small businesses, and they do so at huge levels of participation and engagement. They actually opened up a physical store in Ponce City Market.
That's big stuff.
That is major.
That's major.
I was all over it. Anyone that I can blab my mouth to about Village Market, I blab my mouth to.
Yo, shout out to Village Market.
Because I think it is a fantastic organization.
Right.
And I think we should support these things as well.
Yeah, man.
Pond City Market. So we went out there on Saturday.
So y'all have already been.
We went grand opening. I know I'm going to get my ticket, right? So we got tickets for the weekend. I was going to go up on Friday. Didn't get a chance to get there on Friday because we have family in town.
Mm-hmm.
My whole family, everyone that was in town, to go to Village Market at Pond City Market. We were the first people in line on Saturday. Now, here's the thing. There was a line. We talked to one of the vendors there from the Muted Home.
Mm-hmm.
They said, yeah, yesterday we had thousands of people here. Thousands of people here. I can't imagine Pond City Market. If you're not familiar with Pond City Market,
I can't imagine that.
Used to be the old Sears factory, and for a while was City Hall. It laid abandoned for a while, and then they redid it. They did a bunch of fantastic stores down there. Great atmosphere, great environment, awesome place to be at. And this is a very huge step in terms of diversity. Right? Village Market has a store on the second floor of Pond City Market. We were some of the first people in line. Yes, if you were behind us, I felt bad for you because my whole family got in there and we definitely were in there for about an hour.
Wow.
And in fact, this is why I'm rocking this shirt. So
I love it.
See this shirt? It says support is a verb, right?
Right.
The support is a verb. This is my supporting them, supporting this motion, supporting this movement. I love it. I'm here for it. I can't speak highly enough of it.
That's fire.
Area, you must go see Village Market. It is fantastic.
All right, I'm gonna have to make it a point to get out there at some point. Can we do that this weekend? I don't know. I'll check the schedule, see if we can make that happen.
Check it out. They got all different types of stuff. They got t-shirts, they got sweatshirts, they got home goods, they got music. They have a live DJ in there. They have a black garden wall thing in there.
I love that.
For Instagram. Check it out. I will post photos on our Instagram page.
Yeah, do that. Yeah.
Those like buttons, hit that subscribes. We're going to get you guys in there. It is fantastic.
Yeah, hey, make sure you do take a picture of you on the shirt too and tag Village Market in it.
Next up on the local news.
Yeah.
Big one.
This one makes me happy because I like to see train wrecks. I'm the guy who slows down to watch these wrecks happen on the highway. And we're watching a wreck happen on the highway with Brian Kemp and Donald Trump trading blows, with Donald Trump wanting Georgia to flip its election results. And Brian Kemp is like, hey, buddy, I'm on your side, but I can't break the law.
I love it. I love it. In my evil Palpatine Star Wars voice, I love it. Right?
And my what's the guy from The Simpsons? Excellent.
Mr. Burns.
Mr. Burns. Like, oh man. And so now they're like, my man is like, Trump is like, hey, don't vote in the primary, in the runoffs, because they haven't done enough to support me. I'm like, oh gosh, this is
no. It's even worse than that. Donald Trump did an interview with Fox News this morning.
I saw that.
November 30th, and said, I regret even endorsing Brian Kemp because he has done nothing.
Mm-hmm. And now on Twitter, they're already talking about primarying Brian Kemp. Like the Republican Party is talking about primarying their incumbent Republican governor in Georgia. God.
So here's where I'm going to give my 2 cents. And then, Jeff, I want you to chime in.
Okay, give more than 2. This is awesome.
Here's my 2 cents about this, right? I'm in Georgia. I've been in Georgia. Georgia has adopted me. I've been here 20 years now, right? 20 years, right? 20 years I've been in Georgia. I feel like the thing that makes you Georgia is like, we ain't like everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
Right? We ain't like everybody else out here. Our music different. Our style is different. Atlanta is very, very different, right? And I keep on turning to the Georgia Republicans like, where's your backbone, bro? Like, where you at, right?
Non-existent.
Because y'all are trading on each other like it's no nothing out here, right? Like if y'all were a gang, this would be the most dysfunctional gang I've ever seen. I've started to wonder if it's actually made me reflect worse on the Democrats, because I'm like, it took us this long to kind of
exactly. And you know, and you're right. I mean, I think you brought that up, and this is the opportunity really for Democrats to get more organized,
right?
Because if they're this dysfunctional now, there's probably going to be some reorganization that happens, and they'll probably figure it out. But when you allow dysfunction in the house, it doesn't go away.
Right.
And so this dysfunction is going to be here in 2022, but it's going to be up to the Democrats to organize in a way that says, hey, we're going to take this state and we're going to keep it blue.
And see, like, I feel bad for Brian Kemp, who's been chasing Donald Trump for the past 4 years. It feels like all on this dude's coattail for him to like endorse him and him be, everyone loves the sunshine, right? Oh, I got my time in the sunshine. I'm the star. I'm up here doing shows. I'm doing little spots with Donald Trump, right? Donald Trump to trade on you like that, man, that sucks. The person that I most respect out of the Georgia Republicans right now is Brad Raffensperger, right? This man hasn't done a lot to deserve my respect, but I give him 5 points of respect, right? 5 points is all the respect he gets from me for being the person that's like, I'm a Republican, but I'm from Georgia. I'm the Secretary of State, right? If they elected Joe Biden, they elected Joe Biden. Me being a Republican doesn't change that. I'm not going to illegally change anything. What are you talking about? We lost. We lost the election. It sucks. Get over it. Go back to what you were doing. I respect this guy for at least being the truth teller on this. And they traded on him. It's
like I feel bad for him because now his family's getting death threats, all because he did the like take a step back. He's getting death threats because he did the right thing.
Right.
Like he said, I supported you, I campaigned for you, I voted for you, and I gave you money, and you lost.
Right.
And he said you lost because you were telling people not to do absentee and mail-in balloting. He's had 20,000 people who voted in the primaries, voted in the general. He would have won.
No, I don't subscribe to that, right? If those people voted, because I think it's too easy then for
you're right, that's too easy
on the fringes to say, well, then the problem is in mail-in voting, right? I don't want mail-in voting to go anywhere. You lost.
You lost.
You lost. We didn't change any rules. We had your guys in the office and you lost.
Exactly.
You lost.
And it's your fault.
If your people showed up the day of the voting, you still wouldn't have enough. You lost, right?
And it's your fault. And again, because I go back to, I think I said this before somewhere else. Had the dude just done the bare minimum in fighting the coronavirus, he would have won.
Right.
Had he just come out at the beginning and said, guys, I don't know how this is going to go. We're going to get through this as a country. You know, I'm Donald Trump. I do all things perfectly, but we're going to have to do this together as a country and as a team and wear a damn mask. He would have won.
I got to say this. He had a chance to add presidential. He didn't add presidential.
Exactly.
It's not that hard. It's not
that hard.
There's no conspiracy. He had a chance to be the president. He's supposed to be presidential. He didn't add presidential. He's no longer the president. Pretty easy equation here.
Boom.
I don't know what fraud people are talking about with fake voters and all this stuff. And if it should come out, okay, cool, whatever. Let's see how this plays out, right?
Yep.
But honestly, you lost, right? There used to be a quote from maybe not Nick Saban, but I think it might just be an old coaching quote, right? Like if you lost the game, it shouldn't have been that close in the first place, right?
Boom.
If you want to keep managing a country that's on the fringes 50-50, then that really doesn't bode well for you, right?
I mean, you got to do more. You got to do more, man. Not like right now, Biden's approval rating as
It's like the kid that comes home from school with a D and thinks they got an A in the class. Yep. Like you didn't get an A. You didn't get an F. You know what I mean?
What's worse in your scenario, the kid who got a D comes home thinking he got an A, and his parents reward him for getting the D, like they would have get, like he got the A. And that's literally the Republican Party. They're rewarding this dude for doing below the bare minimum.
But these are the same people that will go around and call people snowflakes and say, oh, we don't do participation trophies. It seems like you do participation trophies. We don't do freebies, but we do farm subsidies, right? We don't do taxpayer. We don't want to pay taxes on stuff. But the people that you support, they don't pay taxes either.
Exactly.
You're broke and hurt because they're rich and famous. It's a party that's lost all over, right?
And I'm petty. And so I am the one who goes in the comment sections and I'm poking the conservative bear because they are carrying this dude's water. And I'm like, you're an idiot. He's 1 in 39 in his court cases right now. And you really think he's about to be president and he has something special? Keep donating your money to the dummy.
So honestly, I was on Facebook. I saw a WSB article and I'm looking through and I'm like, oh, why is it showing me this one clip? And it says Jeffrey Brown replies to such and such and just kind of goes in, you're stupid. You know, it's like, what are you talking about? Right. And I'm like, Jeff is out here debating with these yahoos, right? Crazy yahoos that are like, it's fraud because Martians voted in Georgia. It's like, what are you talking about, man?
I get bored sometimes, and so this is what happens. I'm scrolling through my phone, and something. As long as if I'm the first person to respond to the person, then I'm good. I'll jab. But if I'm like number 99, I'm not jumping into that conversation because they're not responding. So if I'm the first person that's going to respond to an idiot, oh yeah, I'm jumping into that comment because I just like it. One, it's fun for me, and then two, you can always get them lost with logic, and it's and when you spew and when you believe propaganda in your heart,
right,
then it's so much more fun because you can point out the flaws in their arguments. Like, hey, your guy is 1 for 39 in his court cases.
Right. And they'll be like, we're winning. And you're like,
1 for 39, 1-39.
Right. How has that happened? Right.
Because you have idiots for lawyers and you have no case, and all the evidence that you keep talking about on Twitter and in your news conferences, you go to court and you're like, hey, this is not really about fraud. And the judge is like, yeah, but that's what you're saying in the news. He's like, yeah, but okay, your case is thrown out. That's how this is.
See, this is also why when those same people are critical of education, I'm like, this isn't spooky witchcraft, right? This is called education, right? Like, if you learned how the law works and how court cases work, then maybe you wouldn't be surprised that if you lose a court case, you kind of lost the whole point, right?
Man, reading is fundamental. Right. And had you just watched one extra episode of Reading Rainbow or one episode of Magic School Bus, you probably would have picked up a little bit more. And it's okay, man, you know?
I'm no lawyer, but I watched enough Law and Order to understand how it works out, right? And it's like, but then again, those people consider everything that's not on Fox News to be fake news. So it's like, okay, I could be talking to a wall at this point.
And the reason I love it is because you can always get them with Trump's own words, because typically on Monday he'll say one thing, but by Thursday he says something totally different. And so forcing them to navigate his own words is always really fun because they get lost. And it's like,
right.
So in my mind, I feel like they look like the turtle that's rolled over on its back. And it's like,
please help.
Please. Flip me over. Yeah.
So Trump and Kemp, have at it, you strange bedfellows, you guys. Hope you guys work that out. Make up to breakups. We'll figure out how it goes down. But last but not least, in our news, our local news, local legend Clark Howard is walking away from this radio show.
Yo, that was a shock. Like I saw that on the production notes, and I'm like, whoa, wow, what?
Yeah,
was that?
He's hanging it up. So Clark Howard has had a show for over 20 years on the radio, and he talks about personal finance, talks about a bunch of stuff. It's in syndication. It's a nationally recognized show. Yeah. It's great. It's a great, honest resource for understanding how money works. But Clark Howard has said he would always do the show as long as it seemed fun and it was fun for him. But recently he's gotten over it with the business of doing the show.
Gotcha.
So all the things surrounding the show.
Okay.
It's time to walk away. It's time
to respect the hustle.
I got other things to do. I don't want to do this. I give him props. I give him props. Walking away. It's on a show. It's time to hang it up. It's time to hang it up. So,
I mean, and because we talked about this with our show, right? Like this is so much fun. And I think in the moment where it's not fun, because it's when it gets to be work, I'm like, right. If I want to work, I'll work. I'll go to work. Right. This is the thing that's fun. And so I feel Clark, right? I mean, now granted, I don't have a 20-year show in syndication, but when we get there,
not yet.
Yeah, let's go there, right? Like, let's have this, let's hang it up conversation in 20 years.
Right.
When we're syndicated.
20 years from now, we'll be older guys thinking, maybe. Nah.
I'm still drinking, but is it Wednesday? I'm retired now. So,
right. So, but no, so that is amazing. I mean, I'm glad that he had a run that he did. To have a show that long. I hope he continues to put out his advice for personal finance, because I think when you have a gift such as he does, I think you only can go on and give it out more and more as much as possible.
You're right.
I think that's about it for our local news. This was an amazing week of news.
Yeah, it was a good week. It was a good all around week. For a holiday week, this was a good week.
So Jeff, who's your hero? Who's your villain of the week?
Hero of the week might have to be the Secretary of State for Georgia for having a backbone. And then my villain of the week is probably going to be Young Thug.
Young Thugger. I'd have to agree with you on my villain of the week. Young Thug. I don't know, man. I don't know what's going on. My hero of the week, I'm going to go with Village Market, man. I can't speak enough about how much of a come up or how much of awesomeness is in that store. Village Market is amazing. That's my hero of the week. They are my heroes. Now that I know I can go up there every day, anytime I went to, that is amazing.
This is going to be a problem for you.
Oh, it definitely is. I think my wife is fully under the understanding that I'm going to be like, I don't want to go to Lenox Mall. I would like to go to Village Market.
Well, people getting shot at Lenox Mall, so like we're not going to Lenox Mall either.
There's all types of craziness. You can have your little bougie cars if you want them. Right? So this was a good week, Jeff.
Yeah, man.
Knocked out episode 4. I hope our listeners hung out with us because it was a long ride.
It was a long one. But I mean, hey, we got it in. We got a lot of stuff in, and it was a great conversation.
Yeah, so episode 4 is in the books.
Man, I love it. It's Drunk Mondays, episode 4.
Episode 4 done. So I'm Cary.
I'm Jeff.
Peace out. See you next week.
Love y'all, man.
All right.